played Navy. So, I mean,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
shut down
and then we
Navy.
go off for almost 200 yards. You know, yeah, you take out the 60 plus yard run that, you know, Tyler had, but still, you're still over 100 yards. You know what I mean? And that game, when you can throw it for 400 plus, you know what I mean? Yeah, you got to stick to the run just to keep them honest, but they just didn't have anybody that can stick with our receivers, you know, and that's going to be a little bit different. They're going to be a little bit more athletic, you know, in the back end with Boise and stuff like that. The guys are going to have to work a little bit harder for that, you know, but
speaking of the defense, or speaking of the run game, the Aggies are averaging 5 yards per carry. Have you seen that?
So 5 yards per carry versus 2.2.
Yeah. So Boise State is only averaging like 2 right now, 2 yards per carry. Aggies are averaging 5 yards per carry. But guess what opponents are averaging right now against the Aggies? They're averaging 5.76 yards per carry.
5.76. I wonder if you take Air Force out of that just because that's what they do. I don't know.
Right. Well,
just to see what it'd be like,
had that long run, but other than that, the Aggies played good against the run. North Dakota, same thing. They had a couple of good runs in the first quarter, but other than that, they couldn't run the ball at all.
So honestly, I think you know, turnovers, obviously, I think that can be a key to the game for about any game. But turnovers, stopping the run, and we got to play better in the first 2 quarters. Yeah. I mean, if these guys, obviously they scheme pretty well for everybody they play. If they're averaging, you know, 250 yards in the first half and 28 points, if we can't keep pace, you know what I mean? The game ends at a certain time, you know, you're just going to run out of time, you know? So I think we got to come out and play fast and just be able to move the ball, control the ball, kind of like we did. It didn't seem like we did against Air Force, but if you look at the time of possession, we had more plays than Air Force, I think. I could be crazy, but I thought we had like 10 to 15 more plays than they did.
Too, yeah. Because they didn't have any turnovers, right? Or they had that one interception.
Who, Air Force?
Yeah.
No.
Air Force got an interception, didn't they?
Oh, Air Force. I thought you meant for us. So, yeah, Air Force, when Bonner came back in after he took
the Aggies won the turnover battle like 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah, they won 2-1 on that one, yeah. Well, Rice had 2 and they had 1.
Yeah, even against UTEP, Boise State only had 121 yards rushing.
On the ground? Yeah, so they got some issues there. I know one of their offensive linemen that's kind of a stud. I can't pronounce his name. I can't pronounce anybody's name. It's Stetz or something like that. I don't know if I'm spelling it even right. I don't know. He was kind of banged up. I know they've been banged up and stuff like that. But
I mean, the Aggies' worst. I mean, this offense is pretty impressive when you look at the stats. Against Air Force, the Aggies only had 180 yards rushing. But that's pretty good. You know,
yeah, I mean, I'd take 180 yards rushing. I don't care who you play. You know what I mean? That's doing your job. I mean, Tyler, what's he averaging, like 6 yards a carry or something, 6.2 yards a carry?
Yeah, that's their worst game is 180 yards. So, I mean, that's pretty good three-game average. So, yeah,
I think,
for
honestly,
sure.
I think if we can play, Isaac, if we can play better in the second or in the first half than we have been, instead of coming from behind all the time and playing from behind all the time, win the turnover battle and stop the run, I think we should be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning. I mean, this is a huge opportunity. Because like I say, I think they're not gonna be down for long. They're not gonna have injuries, or if they do have depth issues. That's one of the things Avalos mentioned. They have depth issues on the D line for sure. Definitely a weakness of theirs. So they're going to fix that. They're going to get good recruits. I think it was Stetz that you're talking about. Is that his last name? Stets.
Yeah.
So he's out. I didn't see.
I don't know if I think he played.
He did play.
I think it was like at the beginning, excuse me. It was at the beginning of September when he was kind of banged up and he didn't play. But he's starting to get healthy, and I think he played last week, but they got a lot of guys that have been banged up. I mean, it's just like everybody. We're week 4. Everybody's going to be dinged up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think they're starting nose guard. I think it's Cravens, isn't it? He's a Utah boy.
Yeah, Utah guy.
Yeah, so he'll be starting a nose guard for them. But I'm kind of skeptical about their depth, and if we can get first downs and move the ball, and they need to start shuffling people in, who are they going to shuffle in? You know what I mean? If they're down that one, 6'3", 306. I mean, that's a lot of meat. That's a lot of, and then the other dude 290. I mean, they got some big boys. They're gonna, when they come out, they're gonna look like a football team. That's for sure. You know what I mean? They always do. They always look good. But just can't let it get in your head that, with the name on their jersey, who cares? It's Boise State. You know what I mean? But it's a huge, like you said, it's a huge opportunity. We get these guys, and who knows what happens the rest of the year, to be honest with you. It kind of opens up a little bit, you can't get complacent by any means, but
we've seen from history, you beat Boise State and you beat Air Force. Air Force is going to beat a lot of teams. Boise's going to beat some teams. They have the harder schedule. They have to play San Diego State and Fresno State and Nevada, where the Aggies just have San Jose State. That's a huge advantage. Wyoming's at home, but that'll be a tough game, just because Wyoming is so tough every year. It kind of just sets up pretty nice for a fun season. A special season, really, because this is like Craig Smith first year type of stuff, where such low expectations, pick last, second to last, whatever, and run through the conference, and win it. So you never know.
When you got people, at the beginning of the year, we're going to only win 3 games, and I never thought we'd only win 3 games, but I didn't think that I'd be sitting here September 21st talking to you and being 3-0 either. You know what I mean? Right. So, it's a completely different team. And if you're listening to this, obviously you're probably going to be going to the games, but if you know anybody that is on the fence for whatever reason, I'd encourage them to go, and if you look at the price of tickets, ouch, that hurts, get your season tickets at the beginning of the year. I was looking today and everything's sold out for BYU, and then you go on StubHub and some jackwagon, okay, I said it, is selling 1 to 5 tickets. They want $2,000 a piece for these tickets. Go on StubHub and look. I'm not lying. It's like, that's crazy. So darn well that they're going to the game, but they thought, hey, if somebody's going to pay us $2,000 for our tickets, sure. I'd be tempted to sell it for $2,000 too, but hey, that's just me. Well, yeah, I just, if you guys listen to this, just encourage people to come out. I don't know what general admission tickets. I don't get the general admission season tickets. I don't know what they cost. I know they used to be like, I don't know, $100, $120 or something.
Well,
for
you
6
can get
games.
Such cheap, like family pack of seats. I got a family pack, so 2 adults tickets and 3 kids, and it's only a couple $100. It's not very much for the whole season. And you pay. I
know people are strapped sometimes.
Do you know how much it is to take 5 people to a Jazz game?
I don't even want to know.
Take your
I've
family
been to one Jazz game, and that's
game.
back when Kobe Bryant.
Family to an NFL game, you're not walking out of there less than hundreds of dollars. So,
Yeah, I mean, you go out to eat, a family of 5 goes out to eat, you know what I mean? You're at least 100 and some bucks, and that's just
$100
going out to
later.
eat for 30 minutes, you know what I mean? And then you're done. And I know people are strapped and you got to put your money where you need it and stuff like that, but it's like when I'm hard up, I ain't ashamed. I go donate plasma, man. I do. I go donate plasma. That's how
Yeah.
I pay for my season tickets, you know? And I mean, you go 2 times a week for a month and you get like $500-600 with the bonuses. I mean,
Yeah.
do it for 1 month and be done. It doesn't hurt. Takes an hour and a half each time you go. Then your season tickets are paid for. You know, that's how I pay for my season tickets, my tailgating spots. You know, I do it throughout the week, and then that's how I buy all the meat for the tailgate and stuff. I mean, I'm not ashamed. I'll admit it. That's what I do. You know, do
Yeah.
what you got to do. Do what you got to do. You know.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing. Like I say, hopefully we can get more Aggie fans. I've been joking with some of my neighbors, get them out to the game. I'll buy their tickets. I'll take them I'll give them a ride up to the game. My kids' friends, I'm like, hey, come with us. We'll go to the game. And one Aggie fan at a time, you know, convert some kids to
yeah,
Aggie
and I mean,
fans.
I don't know how many people, you know, that listen to this have gone to other stadiums and stuff. Isaac and I, we've traveled around a little bit. We've been to Fresno, Nevada, Wyoming, Colorado State,
Wyoming,
Air Force. Yeah,
Air
I think
Force,
we've been
Wyoming.
to, yeah, I mean, we've been to all those. And you know what? Maverick Stadium, you are on top of those guys. I mean, you are Kinnick Stadium at Iowa for Big Ten school. I mean, you're right on top of them too. I mean, it reminds me like Mavericks kind of the Kinnick light, in my opinion, for just being so close to the action. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, Nevada, it's like a tin can.
Nevada,
it's just
Boise
terrible.
State.
Boise's not an attractive stadium whatsoever. Fresno's
weird.
Fresno was kind of weird.
Yeah,
wasn't
Fresno was like Maverick Stadium, but bigger and like pushed out further, like not as close to the field. Like the field was weirdly big, right?
Yeah, and
Am I remembering that right?
No, and Air Force just seemed huge because nobody was there, and nobody's ever there.
Yeah, there's no one
nobody
there.
Supports Air Force around, you know, in Colorado. I guess nobody supports it, and then Colorado State, that stadium. I mean, that's nice. I mean, it's brand new,
awesome,
but nobody supports them. Nobody shows up, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm really stoked the way the season's gone, regardless of the way the next week, 2 weeks go. I think we're going to finish strong. You know what I mean? I think this is a very winnable game for the Aggies on Saturday, you know? And I don't know, it just worries me about how many seats are open for the Boise game versus the BYU game. That just means a lot of Zoobs are going to be there, you know, but that's okay. Like I said, you know, people have to do what they're going to do. I do what I do, you know. I used to get all bent out of shape because nobody would show up, but it is what it is. I know I'm going to be there, so I can only do what I can do, you know. So I just hope
it's such a fun team that everybody should want to go see the game. It's going to be a great game. You know, it's on regular CBS, so obviously you can stay home and watch it easily, but it's just so much fun to be at the game, so much different. And
I mean, nothing really compares to it. I mean, I've been up in the suites, you know, and it was for knew some people that had a suite and they invited us to come up there for one of the spring or the scrimmages or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was in there for like 5 minutes and I'm like, yeah, this isn't my thing, you know? And I had to get down closer to the field because that's football to me. You know what I mean? You can hear it better. You can, you know, you're out in the elements. You're just, you know, and when we go to the games, you know, it's like being the press box or on the sidelines. Well, you know where I want to be. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's snowing or raining or or whatever. I'd rather, you know,